Welcome, travelers, to ancient Egypt, where death was not the end, but a transition, a gateway to a journey through the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed that preserving the physical body was essential for this journey, leading them to develop one of the most elaborate and fascinating mortuary practices in human history: mummification. Today, we'll uncover the meticulous techniques, the rituals, the beliefs that transformed the deceased into eternal residents of a world beyond our own. Let us begin, shall we, and peel back the linen wrappings of time to reveal the secrets of Egyptian mummification. Our journey begins with the passing of an individual. The family would have summoned specialized priests, individuals trained in the intricate art of mummification. Picture, if you will, the scene, the air thick with incense, the soft chanting of priests as they prepare the deceased for their voyage to the afterlife. The first step in this sacred ritual was the removal of the organs. Now, you might find this surprising, but the brain, considered of little importance to the ancient Egyptians, was removed through the nostrils using a hooked instrument. It's remarkable to think, isn't it, how our understanding of the brain has evolved over millennia. The Egyptians believed that the heart, however, was the seat of intelligence, of being, and so it was left in place. Other vital organs, the lungs, the stomach, the liver, the intestines, were carefully removed through an incision made in the left side of the abdomen. These organs, you see, were not simply discarded. They were meticulously washed, treated with preserving substances, and then placed in special containers called canopic jars. These jars, often adorned with the protective deities of the afterlife, were buried alongside the mummy. Each organ had its own designated guardian entity, with a human head for the liver, Hapi with a baboon head for the lungs, Duamutef with a jackal head for the stomach, and Kerbesinuef with a falcon head for the intestines. Imagine the artistry involved, the symbolism imbued in every step of this ancient practice. It speaks volumes about their beliefs, their reverence for the human body, even in death. With the organs removed, the next crucial step was to dehydrate the body, to halt the natural process of decay. For this, the Egyptians turned to natron, a naturally occurring salt found in abundance in the desert. Picture vast shimmering salt flats baking under the Egyptian sun. This natron, you see, was key to the preservation process. The body, you see, was covered, completely enveloped in this desiccating salt. It was packed inside the body cavity as well, ensuring that every ounce of moisture was drawn out. This process, this slow surrender to the natron, would take approximately 40 days. Can you imagine? 40 days, the body gradually transforming, becoming desiccated, preserved against the ravages of time. During this time, the body would rest in a special chamber, a place of quiet transformation. Priests would tend to it, ensuring the natron was working its magic. The air, thick with the scent of natron, would be heavy with anticipation, with the weight of the afterlife, and slowly, day by day, the body would relinquish its moisture, becoming akin to parchment, ready for the next stage of its journey. After 40 days, the body, now thoroughly desiccated, was removed from its natron bed. Imagine, if you will, the priests carefully brushing away the clinging salt, revealing the preserved form beneath. The body, though shrunken, was now ready for the next stage of its transformation. The natron had done its work, halting decay, but the body, naturally, appeared somewhat diminished. It was in this next stage that the priests would work their artistry, restoring the body to a lifelike appearance. The first step was to wash the body, cleansing it of any remaining natron. Then began the meticulous process of filling the body cavity. Linen, herbs, sawdust, even spices were used to fill the void left by the removed organs, restoring the body's natural contours. It was a delicate operation, one that required a keen eye and steady hands. The sunken areas of the face, the hollows beneath the eyes, were filled out with linen or clay, restoring a semblance of life to the deceased. False eyes, often made of glass or obsidian, were inserted, peering out from the preserved face, gazing towards eternity. Chapter 4. Now, with the body prepared, it was time for the most iconic stage of mummification, the wrapping. Imagine, if you will, long strips of linen, often torn from the deceased's own clothing, being carefully wound around the body. This was not simply a matter of covering the body, you see. It was a sacred ritual, a process imbued with meaning. As the priests worked, they would recite spells and prayers, guiding the deceased on their journey to the afterlife. Amulets imbued with protective magic were placed amongst the layers of linen, each one carefully positioned to ward off evil spirits and provide safe passage for the deceased. Can you imagine the scene? The soft murmur of prayers, the rustle of linen, the clinking of amulets, all blending together in the stillness of the workshop. It was a solemn occasion, a farewell, a final act of love and devotion. The wrapping process could take days, even weeks, depending on the social status of the deceased and the elaborateness of the mummification. And as the final layers of linen were applied, a sense of peace would descend upon the room, the transformation nearing its end. Chapter 5. The Resin's Protective Embrace. The linen-wrapped mummy, now resembling a slumbering cocoon, was ready for its final protective layer. A resin, often made from a mixture of pine resin, beeswax, and aromatic oils, was carefully heated until it flowed like honey. This fragrant concoction, you see, served a dual purpose. It acted as a sealant, protecting the mummy from the elements, and it also imbued the air with a sweet, almost sacred aroma. Imagine the priests, their faces illuminated by flickering oil lamps, carefully applying the warm resin to the linen wrappings. The resin, as it cooled, would harden, forming a protective shell around the mummy. It was a final poignant touch, a way of sealing in the magic of the mummification process. And with the resin applied, the transformation was complete. The deceased, once a living, breathing individual, was now an eternal resident of the afterlife, their physical form preserved for all time. Chapter 6. 70 Days to Eternity. From the moment the priests began their sacred work to the final application of the resin, the entire mummification process took approximately 70 days. 70 days, imagine that, to transform a mortal being into an eternal one. It was a testament to the Egyptians' belief in the afterlife, their dedication to honoring the dead. During those 70 days, the world outside continued. The sun rose and set, the Nile ebbed and flowed, but within the confines of the mummification workshops, time seemed to stand still. It was a period of intense focus, of meticulous care, as the priests labored tirelessly to ensure that the deceased would make a smooth transition to the afterlife. And when the 70th day arrived and the final touches were applied, there would have been a sense of accomplishment, of a sacred duty fulfilled. The mummy, now a vessel for the soul's journey, was ready to be returned to its family, ready to be laid to rest in its final resting place. Chapter 7. Beyond the Pharaohs. Variations in Preservation. Now, it's important to remember that not all mummies were created equal. The elaborate 70-day process we've just explored was generally reserved for the wealthy, for the elite of Egyptian society. For those of more modest means, simpler, less expensive methods of mummification were employed. Imagine, if you will, the vastness of the Egyptian social hierarchy, from the pharaohs at the apex to the farmers and laborers who formed the bedrock of society. For some, mummification might have involved little more than drying the body in the desert sands, allowing the arid climate to do its work. Others might have been covered in resin, a more affordable alternative to the elaborate wrapping process. And yet, regardless of the method employed, the underlying belief remained the same, that preserving the physical body was essential for the soul's journey to the afterlife. It was a belief that transcended social class, a testament to the Egyptians' enduring fascination with death and the world beyond. Outro, a legacy etched in time. As we conclude our journey into the heart of Egyptian mummification, we're left with a profound sense of awe at the ingenuity, the artistry, and the deep spiritual beliefs of this ancient civilization. These techniques, these rituals, weren't merely about preserving the physical body. They were about navigating the mysteries of life and death, about ensuring that a part of the deceased lived on, forever touched by the divine. The ancient Egyptians, in their quest for immortality, left behind a legacy that continues to captivate and intrigue us millennia later. Their mummies, those silent sentinels of time, offer us a glimpse into a world where death was not the end, but merely a transition, a journey to a realm beyond our own. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fascinating insights into ancient civilizations.